consider the scenario. You're home alone, it's late at night, you're asleep, you hear glass breaking, you're stumbling on the floors in your home, and you realize, I'm being broken into, maybe by multiple people. So you have a couple of choices run through your mind. Am I going to call the police and wait for them to arrive? Am I going to flee out the window? Or am I going to pull out a gun and attempt to defend myself? So hold those thoughts there for a moment. In the United States, we have the Second Amendment to the Constitution. It gives us the right to bear arms. And basically that means we can have guns and ammo. But with that right, we have responsibilities. We have safety concerns that need to be considered. And with that said, I'm going to talk about a few studies, just brief studies regarding gun ownership. Statistically, those people in the United States who have guns in their homes are susceptible to more gun violence. And here's why. Mainly, when people talk about that, they're talking about suicide. People who are mentally unstable, who contemplate suicide or have those people in their homes and who own guns, they are quick to reach for the gun and commit suicide. It's a sad thing, but it happens. The other thing is people who own guns are more quick to pull those, normally, unfortunately. Lack of training, not sure. But, and they end up getting shot. So, you pull your gun on someone, they have a gun, it's you or them usually. The other thing is, which kind of relates to that, is a lot of people tend to think that they're ready to defend themselves with a weapon or a gun, for instance, but they don't actually do it. When it comes down to actually shooting someone, they won't do it. They value human life, or they are too nervous about shooting someone, I guess, is the key to that. So they end up getting shot themselves. They'll try to wing the person. They'll shoot in the air. And that's unfortunate, but that happens. So it was a thing in Vietnam. Soldiers would not shoot the enemy. They just try to wing on and fire over their heads at the enemy. It's like, hey, I'm going to shoot you. So that's why they do reactive shooting drills now in the military. But anyway, the other thing is laws that I want to talk about. The laws regarding gun ownership, and there's a million of those, so I'm just going to touch on a few of them that I found interesting. Foreign parts. That thing got me. The ATF has rules about how many foreign parts you can put on a weapon. You can take a perfectly legal weapon and put like a different stock on it, a different trigger, maybe a different barrel, and make it totally illegal. And if you got caught with it, you could be a felon, go to jail for a long time. So that's an important law to know. Also, you can get a CHL, concealed handgun license in Texas and several other states that allows you to actually carry a gun concealed. You have to keep it hidden unless you're pulling out to defend yourself. Otherwise, you pull that out, it's called brandishing, which is bad. If you hold your gun up in the air, you're shooting in the air, which is another thing, like Yosemite Sam or whatever, that's reckless endangerment, I believe. You can't fire a gun in the air, which also brings me to, you can't fire a gun in the air as a warning shot when you're confronted with a criminal or somebody trying to attack you. For one, you'll probably get shot beforehand, or after you fire that warning shot, but also you don't know where that bullet's going to land. The other thing I want to mention is that you can actually buy machine guns in Texas and other states. You just have to fill out the proper paperwork and get approval from the local sheriff, I believe. So you can't just go to the store as a normal person without that. You can go to the store and buy a semi-automatic weapon with no problem, but if you're gonna pull the trigger and just keep firing, that's a different story. You have to get permits and things like that, but you can do that. They're not illegal. Most laws they pass, by the way, on banning certain things, certain ammo, whatever, they're retroactive, or they're not retroactive, I guess. So, like, if you own something that was made illegal, usually, if you already owned it, it's not illegal. You just can't sell it normally, so you can't buy it in the future. So keep that in mind. So, safety. The other thing I want to talk about is gun safety, before I get on too much of a tangent. Always assume a gun is loaded. That's just a given. I don't care if someone, when they hand it to you, checks to see if it's loaded. You take it and you check yourself. Never point a gun at someone unless you plan on shooting them. That's the other thing. Assume it's loaded. Even if you checked it, just assume it's loaded. Don't hold a gun to your head. Those stupid selfies you see out there. Don't do that falls in line with horseplay. Don't play around with the gun like it's a toy. You see people doing that. always practice at the range. Take training. There's never too much training, as far as I'm concerned. You always train with the weapon. You want it to be memory in your mind. You want to be able to just not really think about it. I mean, you do want to think about it. The other thing is, don't fear your gun. Being scared of your gun is not a good thing. I mean, you should respect it, but fearing it probably means you're not ready to handle that gun yet. You know, if you want to be a concealed license holder, a concealed handgun holder, you don't want to be scared of your gun, because that's when you do crazy things like shoot yourself in the foot and stuff. Don't want to do that. So, just to restate, the Second Amendment allows us to have guns, but they may not be for you. Like I said, it's great responsibility. There are big safety concerns that need to be considered. And in that scenario I mentioned when I started off, all of those are options that you can use. You can call the police and wait for them. It may take a while. You can try to flee. Just don't run towards the people. Or you can pull out your gun and you can try to defend yourself if you've chosen that route. But if you do that and you have that gun, you need to be sure to understand that you may have to kill someone. You may have to use lethal force. And if you don't think you can do that, then maybe that gun is not for you. Thank you.